The fate of Kosta Diamantis is now in the hands of a jury. Lawyers for both sides gave their closing arguments in his federal bribery and extortion trial this afternoon. News 8's Mike Cerulli joins us now from federal court in Bridgeport with the very latest. Mike.
Good evening to you, Dennis. Federal prosecutors used their closing arguments today to hammer home that image of Kosta Diamantis that they have been painting for the last 2 weeks as a former state official who they say used his power to ask for, accept bribes, and then help out the companies who were bribing him. The defense team, of course, calling that into question and really calling on the jurors to stick to that presumption of innocence that Kosta Diamantis enjoys at this very moment. And Kosta Diamantis himself spoke to the press at length outside the courtroom, and he's defiant as ever.
The government is on a mission, and they are taking a great deal of the evidence out of context and manipulating it to suit a particular purpose.
A defiant Kosta Diamantis stood outside the federal courthouse after closing arguments were delivered and for the first time addressed the press at length about the charges against him. What we heard outside the courtroom echoed what we heard from him last week inside the courtroom. He is adamant the threats prosecutors say he admitted to making weren't extortion, and those payments he has admitted to taking from 2 construction firms were not bribes in his telling.
I took no funds as a director of school construction. None.
Diamantis' explanation for those payments is that he was being compensated for outside business referrals and legal work. Federal prosecutors say the volumes of text messages and witness testimony they presented to the jury disproves that. 3 separate witnesses have testified to paying Diamantis and all said they received help from him. Executives from one of the companies said he threatened to pull their firm off a masonry job if he didn't get paid, and the owner of the other firm feared being blackballed if she fired Diamantis' daughter from a job she'd hired her to. Diamantis' defense attorney urged jurors to remember their responsibility to presume the defendant innocent and called into question the prosecution's proof of a quid pro quo arrangement. Jurors deliberated for about an hour before going home on Monday night.
I'm hoping that the jury takes the mission seriously, compares all the information, and I think they'll do the right thing.
So here is the 7-page, 21-count. They call this the verdict form. This is what jurors will actually fill out. It describes the charges and describes it both generally and then also specifically to this case. And then, of course, there's a not guilty and guilty checkoff that they'll go. They're going to have to work through this, each of the 21 counts over the next few days. So we really don't know when we're going to get that verdict on those counts. When we do, we'll bring it to you on air and online. Live from Bridgeport tonight, Mike Cerulli, News 8.